listening to TrawlCast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 8 of TrawlCast. I'm Seth McClellan.
And I'm Sean Matthews.
And this week, we are going to be talking about some of the more recent music we've been listening to this year. We might go back a little bit to talk about kind of some of the stuff from 2019.
So in the second half, we're actually going to be talking about some of our favorite restaurants and like some of the places we liked to go out to eat and some of the foods we like to cook personally, like in our own homes or whatnot. So Seth, let's get right into this new monthly segment. We're going to be doing this every month. It's Now Spinning. It's what we're listening to. And, you know, if you want to go back a little bit further too, what were you listening to maybe last year at this time? Or, you know, let's play around with this. So, Seth, let's start this new monthly segment called Now Spinning. You know, tell me what you've been listening to, you know, what you got.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with kind of 2019 and where I was at. I actually, for the first time, like in the beginning of 2019, I got Spotify, and I know that I was kind of like behind the eight ball. I had it like once before for like a couple of months, but so I was right around the time we put out Carcharodon, which was March of 2019. I got like really enamored with the whole idea of the single and knowing that kind of where the music world has been for a while is in singles. So I really got into Spotify. I kind of started looking at the weekly release radar every single week that kind of pops up based on what you listen to.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I've had Spotify for a while. Mine's really crazy seeing all the stuff that's on there. And actually, that's where one of the places you can find TrawlCast is Spotify. So,
yeah. And so, like, right around that time, I was just enamored with the idea of the single because I was really trying to figure out how we could best, you know, in the new music world, in the current world, you know, do the best with one single song, you know, put out our absolute best work and see what we could do.
Right.
So I just started pretty much listening to weekly release radar, almost like American Idol, where I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to this song for 20 seconds and be like, do I like this or do I not? So I just thought it was cool to like discover new bands and that way, because traditionally I'm like an album guy. I love listening to albums. I love like digging into the back catalogs. I love the complete work of an album. So this was kind of like, all right, I'm going to try to be Mr. 2019 and just embrace this idea of the single. So last year I really feel like was a singles year.
Yeah, it really was, actually.
Until late in the year, there really wasn't many big albums in my world anyways. There was, you know, a few local EPs and albums. There was the new Division North EP, Hexes and Triangles, that came out.
Yep.
Rustic Overtones put out a full-length record, which was like one of the only full-length albums of the whole year for local bands. There might be a few others, of course, but there was a lot of singles. Like, you know, our buddies and As Friends and Diana Drive put out some singles, and of course we put out our two singles. But, you know, I discovered some new bands. I checked out a bunch of singles. And then later in the year, Tool's Fear Inoculum came out, which was kind of changed things for me because...
I was going to say that pretty much set you up for at least another year or two.
Yeah. Big album. People love to hate on it. It's kind of this big, expansive album. All of the songs are very long. I love it because I'm a diehard fan. I understand why a lot of people don't like it. It's totally fine. If it's not for you, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I haven't even listened to it yet. Still to this day, I still haven't had a chance to listen to it. And honestly, that's my own fault. It'll come soon.
Yeah, and it's one of those that I think it's almost like you need to set aside the time for, because, and I think Tool is that way anyways, where I don't like to listen to them if I've only got a little bit of time or whatever. Like if I know I've got a long drive or, you know, something, I want to like listen to a whole album, because their stuff in general, I think, is best digested, as a whole piece of music rather than just like a song here, a song there. But a couple other albums that came out that I really loved last year, Crowbot's Mother Brain. They're just a cool rock band that I've been into it for a couple years. Actually, Tom got me into Crowbot a few years ago. And then the band Lion Eyes came out with an album called Panic Attack, which was really cool. Jean-Paul Gaster from Clutch actually played drums on it. They are good friends with Clutch, and I actually saw them open up for Clutch about 2 years ago, and they blew me away. And their album came out, and they actually were offering it like signed as a vinyl release, so we ended up buying that. That was really cool. Sweet. So for me, that was like 2019. I don't know if you want to talk about 2019 musically at all, or.
Well, I mean, for me, 2019 was definitely a year that I started to open up a little bit more when it came to listening to certain styles of music and getting more influences. I know that one of the most regularly played albums for me through 2019 was the new Slipknot album.
Oh, yeah.
And that's mostly because I love Corey Taylor. I think his voice is phenomenal, and I've always really dug Slipknot. And that's, I spent most of 2019 really getting in deep, and you're right though. The singles, like that's what got me. Is they put out I want to say 3 singles off of that album, and
that was "We Are Not Your Kind," right? I think that was
We Are Not Your Kind. But they put out 4 singles, because they put out 3 from the album, and then they put out that one track. I want to say that was like 2018 or 2017 where they put that track out. But they put it out, and that's where they actually got the term "We Are Not Your Kind." And that song's not even on the album, but it's still a great ripping song. But I mean, a lot of my stuff was opening up to other influences, getting into some other stuff. I mean, we were hot and heavy doing the singles, and I spent a lot of time focusing on that kind of stuff. Be honest, I'm one of those weirdos that I love playing music. I don't actually listen to that much music when it comes to it. I actually listen to a lot of podcasts, and it actually helps me kind of throughout my workday, because my workday can be long and tedious, and if I have music, I'll get lost in it, and I'll be jumping around, singing, trashing things.
So that's a good point, though, because, as a vocalist, I know that, some other vocalists, it's either kind of one or the other. You almost dive into your influences and you try to live in that world where you can, try to be influenced by a bunch of different things, or you can shut yourself off from influences and just say, I want to try to like clear my mind and my thoughts to let whatever style you're trying to achieve kind of come out. And it sounds like maybe that's what, kind of how you.
I'm kind of like a little, 6 in one, half dozen in the other kind of situation there. Like, I love getting influences. I love getting new influences, and maybe something I didn't listen to before. It helps me kind of, maybe I can do that, or I like the way that his cadence went in this kind of a song. So I try to take that into me, and then I'll kind of put my own spin or flair onto it. But at the same time, like, I can go the other way and just, podcasts in general, I know for me, I can listen to it and I can enjoy it, but it doesn't hit me where music hits me. Like, a podcast to me is something that helps me focus on what I'm doing and helps me, finish my day, If I work an 8-hour shift, 7.5 of those 8 hours is probably listening to a podcast about who knows. A couple podcasts that I do listen to involve music. A couple, or most of them, are kind of weird stuff, and I'm sure we'll get to that later on with a recommendations kind of thing. But
we got to do that.
I like to take what I can from things and then also kind of zone out. And those, podcasts can help me do that. And I can enjoy it. I can listen to the topic at hand and then turn around and continue to work and have guys that I work with like come in, ask me questions. I can tell them, the answer, and then they go away. And I haven't really missed anything because the podcast is still there. It's still kind of popping in my head and my mind.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, going back to 2019, most of that was, I would say, the Slipknot, We Are Not Your Kind. And then I actually kind of got hot and heavy into Ice Nine Kills.
Oh, yeah.
I love the horror-themed aspect of the band and the music videos. So I did listen to a few albums.
Spencer from Ice Nine Kills was just on the Punk Rock MBA podcast, which I listened to.
Yes.
And really cool story. He talks about that band has been together for like the better part of 20 years. And
right.
A lot of people didn't know them until more recently when they kind of hit their stride with the horror-themed stuff on their last record and the one before that. But
actually, and not to show my hand, but one of the bands that I've been spinning recently, it's kind of the same thing. No one really knew them until a certain album of theirs came out. And when that album came out, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God, it's this band. And it's like, yeah, but you missed like 4 albums before this one.
Well, cool. So that's kind of 2019 as things were then. So this year in 2020, obviously this year has been kind of whacked. It's been very different.
It really has.
Yeah. When the year started, I actually right away, I discovered this album from Polyphia. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Polyphia, but
I'm not.
They have this album called New Levels, New Devils, and it's this really weird instrumental metal album. It's kind of like modern metal gent, but it's almost as if you took like hip hop beats and like modern pop beats and you played that stuff with a band. So it's like all of like the sentiments and the timing of like hip hop beats, but then played with like really amazing guitar and cool bass. And they have the tones are very modern metal. I'm sure they're using the Horizon Devices stuff and the Dark Glass stuff. And it sounds really cool. It's almost all instrumental. So I dove into that album and I was just like really digging on that. Couple of fun things, like Clutch has been putting out this thing called the Vault series where they re-release an old song every now and then. I think it's genius because Clutch has...
It's fantastic, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Clutch has like a huge back catalog. And
right. Well, I've been listening to Clutch since like 98.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been around a minute or two. And I'm sure they have plenty of B-sides and rarities that no one's ever heard. Maybe they played it once in, like, Wisconsin at a show, and they're like, we'll never play it again. And now they're like, I guess we'll put it out.
They're like the ultimate road warrior band that just is always touring. They're always out there. They must be losing their minds right now because they're, not able to. But
well, who isn't in the music community?
I know.
mean, you and I found a path to... kind of help the mindset. It used to be look forward to a certain night for band practice, and now I look forward to a certain night for podcasting. So
I know, and of course we promise we're going to play music again. We're not just going to talk at you, but
right, yeah. And I did see somebody actually on one of our posts today. Actually, I think it was your post. Somebody was asking if we'd play a live show. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted on getting like a quarantine concert going on. I know a few places that are open.
That would be cool.
Big enough really for us to hide away from each other.
Yeah, I'd be all about that. Absolutely, definitely. And Clutch actually did one of those recently, and one of my favorite things, Neil Fallon said, he was like, wow, he's like, this is weird because we're playing to a computer screen, but at the same time, I can see that there are thousands of people watching, which is really cool. And then he's like, B, I kind of feel like a caveman who's been thawed out for a minute because I get to like play music and feel normal for a second, and then, go back to what we're
go back
dealing
to
with.
the closet and hide until whenever.
Yeah, I thought that was like the perfect alliteration for what we're dealing with is like being thawed out for a minute.
Right.
So yeah, Clutch has been putting out like they've been re-releasing some stuff that like they had previously done, like Space Grass. They did a brand new version of that. They did a brand new version of Electric Worry. They did a new version of Willie Nelson. And then they've been also releasing covers. They did a version of Precious and Grace by ZZ Top. So they've been doing these, and I think it's genius because they've got so much of a back catalog. They're kind of saying, well, if we release one song every, month or so, we kind of stay out there rather than you put out an album, people digest it, they forget about it, or move on after a few months, and then you're another 2 years before you can put out another full-length album. So I definitely think, the modern attention span and sort of way that the industry is going is kind of moving towards EPs, singles. Not every release has to be your most important music or song you ever put out.
I really like the idea that you put out there of more, the music industry kind of going towards EPs, because I'll be honest, like one of the albums I've been spinning is a new release, and it's an EP. It's not even a full-length CD. So, a lot of this is kind of set up to gear bands to, maybe they can't go into the studio for friggin', 6 weeks to bang out a full album, but they can do 3 weeks or 2, or some weekend sessions and snap together like a 5-6 song EP that just hits just as hard as a 14 song LP or, a 15 song CD. There's a band, I think they're from Portsmouth, United Kingdom. I could be wrong. They're called Bury Tomorrow.
Huh.
They recently put out, and I want to say it was maybe a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that. They just put out an EP called Better Below. And these guys, I guess, I don't know. I don't even know what you can consider a metalcore. I don't know. Yeah. All that genre stuff just kind of makes my head spin, because if it's something that I enjoy, it's music. It's not like, well, this deathcore, blah, blah. I can't do that too much. Like, if it's good music, it's good music, and I like it. But Bury Tomorrow, Better Below EP, it's just a great, I want to say it's 4 or 5 songs. There's a song on there called Choke that absolutely destroys me.
Nice.
Like, I want to kick babies and throw kittens. Like, I want to be as violent as possible when I listen to that album, and especially that song Choke. Their guitars, the tones that they got is just super clean. They have 2 vocalists. One of them plays guitar and he sings, and then they have like a screamer. And these guys work so well together, and their tones that they each incorporate into their vocals just absolutely boggles my mind. They've put out a ton of CDs, and it's one of the bands.
Check them out.
Yeah, it's one of the bands that I keep going back to. Like, I have these weird spurts where, like, the month of September, it's strictly Bury Tomorrow. I'll listen to like 3 of their albums, like in my own little playlist on Spotify, and I just love them. There is one album that I think they took off. It's called Portraits. It's just a sick album. I wish they'd bring it back to Spotify, but it looks, I don't know if it was the record label that did it or what, but they don't have it up anymore. But
usually
better,
is.
yeah, right. The new EP, like I said, it just came out within the last month or 2. It's called Better Below. It's just, it's so good. It's so just full of passion. Like, that's something I really look forward to. If a band I like puts something out with a lot of passion,
yeah, absolutely.
it can get me, like, really jacked up. And I'll be honest, like, that EP, dude, like I said, I want to flip cars when I listen to that friggin' thing. I don't know what it is, but these guys, they know how to write.
That should be on the hype sticker. Makes you want to flip cars. I would buy it.
Makes you want to flip cars. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I love it. It's one of those bands, like I said, I go back to all the time, and they never fail to put out just absolute quality music. So,
kind of since the quarantine started, I haven't really been listening to a whole lot of new music because, as I said before, I tend to listen to like Release Radar every week, usually when I'm at work and in my car and things like that. But because I've been home, still working, but working from home,
right,
I haven't really been doing those like weekly things that I normally would do on like my commute. So I've been getting back into older records, and
nice
because I'm a big vinyl collector. It's kind of this other thing where I don't really buy vinyl records of like brand new stuff that's coming out. I usually reserve, paying for the vinyl for something that is
it's got some, character. It's some age. Yeah.
I know I love it already. Usually I'm not buying a brand new something I've never heard on vinyl just because it's an additional expense. I love to check stuff out on.
It could be one of those things where you buy it and then you're like, wow, this is just terrible. Okay, I just wasted X number of dollars on this, and now I'm kind of stuck with it because I'm sure they don't want it back.
Right. No, exactly. So I've been, buying a few records online and trying to support my local record stores while all of this is happening because I know that, music industry's taken a huge hit, both in live and in, the world of, brick and mortar record stores and, venues and, basically retail stores of all kinds. But so
right.
I've been buying a few records. I bought the second two Mike Patton era Faith No More records, Album of the Year and King for a Day, which are both kind of hard to find on vinyl. I ended up finding those, so I've been spinning those. I used to always say forever since I was like 18 that Angel Dust was my favorite Faith No More record, but
I have heard that.
Yeah, but after listening to Album of the Year for the past like couple of weeks, that record just bangs, man. It's like they stretched out some of the things that they were doing. I think now being a musician, like now, and like I appreciate even more, or not even more. I mean, it's impossible to choose between them, but currently I feel like right now my favorite is Album of the Year, so I'm sure that'll change. But and then I've been digging on, like, I got Funkadelic's Maggot Brain, which is a 70s funk album.
Sweet.
And really cool stuff. I've been listening to like that kind of old 70s funk, but fusion stuff. I got into Herbie Hancock's Headhunters, which is a really
that's
cool,
great, man.
Yeah, it's a really cool instrumental like fusion album. I guess it's it's definitely a classic. It's one of those that's kind of a good entry point into fusion and sort of that funk,
right?
Type of stuff. So I've been digging stuff like that, and I picked up Dave Brubeck's Timeout. It's a cool record. It's like a legendary jazz record, where it's almost accredited for kind of starting the movement in which jazz became known for odd time signatures, because before that moment in the 50s, jazz was a little bit more loungy. It was a little bit more,
a little laid back, not so
regular,
crazy on the, the 4/16 fucking time frame.
Yeah. So this record, it's called Timeout, and literally every song on the album is intentionally in strange timings, but not so much where it feels like, some jazz just feels like nightmarish because you can't really get a bearing on like what is actually supposed to be happening. I'm not really into that so much, but they like masterfully made this album into like something that, you know, is actually a very listenable, very classic piece of music, but it uses all these crazy times. So I've been getting into weird stuff like that.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
This is Ian from Division North, and you're tuned in to Good Cop, Bad Cop on TrawlCast.
In This Moment is another band that I'm a big fan of, and they just released, I want to say it was like a month ago, the album Mother. Now, like I said, I am a big fan of In This Moment, but this is where my hipster side's going to show. I've actually been listening to In This Moment for quite a long time. I want to say 2005, 2006 is the first album that they put out, and I was really close to that time frame I started listening to it. I'm a big fan of theirs, but I do have to say this album, I've been listening to it, and I don't mind it, but I still kind of wish they'd go back to their older stuff.
Is this the band? They have a female lead singer, and they're
Maria
really
Brinks.
big on like the visual performance of things.
Yes.
Really
you know
cool.
exactly.
Really cool stuff.
I mean, that's the thing. That's really awesome stuff, but I miss... Because the first 3 albums they put out really were more of a hard rock / punk rock kind of, you know, we don't give a shit that we have a female singer. Like, we know she's a girl. We know people are going to find her attractive, but we're going to still write music to just write music. Like, and the first 3 albums are just dominant in my mind. And then they kind of started to realize that, well, maybe we could use the sex a little bit to sell, to help out. And it has worked. I mean, a lot of people know In This Moment now because they have the hot chick with the background dancers, and they do crazy, insane visuals. The last time I saw them was at the State Theater, and I want to say it was with Stone Sour. They actually just, like... started. Like, I want to say it was like maybe a song or 2 into their set, and they lost power, and the drummer just went off for like 3 minutes just covering time, beating the snot out of his drums, and everyone was like cheering him on and stuff.
That's cool.
But the Mother album came out. It's definitely something you got to just go through the whole thing and listen to. They have a couple great covers on there, and one of them, Fly Like an Eagle, Steve Miller Band, great song, and it's really cool to hear her voice do what she does best. The other one is We Will Rock You by Queen, and it features Lizzie Hale and Taylor Momsen.
Really? That's a trifecta. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they absolutely have power between the 3 of them.
Damn.
But, you know, it's one of those things like, the last album they actually did put a couple covers onto. I understand what they're doing. I just kind of hope that maybe, and I don't know if it's maybe something to do with her voice. I hope it's not. I'd hate to see that be an issue, but like they are doing a bunch of covers, and they actually did on their last album, they did a cover of I Can Feel It Coming in the Air Tonight. That song.
Yeah.
But when I think of that song as a cover, I think of Nonpoint. Like,
yeah, Nonpoint crushes that one. I love that version.
That cover, man. Well, again, I want to start kicking babies and throwing cats. Like, I really get into that cover. But honestly, In This Moment Mother album is good. I enjoy it. I think the production value is really good. So I'm kind of bummed that the 2020 year has kind of gone up in flames, because I was excited to go see them live, because they do always put on a fantastic show. Another album I've been spinning recently is from a local band of heathens and degenerates. It's a Stillborn Condition. They just released their God Eater album amidst this chaos that we call 2020. And I mean, good group of guys. I've been friends with Chris, the guitarist, and Nick, the singer, for very, very, very long time. Actually, probably 6 years now. 5-6 years I've known them. They were actually part of the band that kind of started the same time as Devil's Night Out. We played our first shows together, and those guys just kind of kept evolving and growing, and they put out God Eater, and honestly, man, it's just a great death metal album. I am very happy that they put my favorite song on there, Haberdashery. It's literally one of the only songs that I will go and cause as much chaos as possible when I see them live.
That's awesome.
Chris Brown, he will tell you that is my jam. Anytime they start playing it, I will come from the back of the stage and go flying off into the crowd. And I make crowd kill, and I apologize for that, but it's that song that gets me jacked up. Like, I could take on the whole world if that song is playing. So
throwing flying elbows and
I'll try ninja kicks and you name it.
I love that there's a death metal song called Haberdashery. That's in and of itself. I need to hear that just to hear how that sounds.
Oh, dude, you'll love it.
Pretty awesome.
It's a fantastic song. It's literally one of my favorite songs they've ever written. But I mean, Evan Sammons, I believe is his name, another local guy that has been doing recordings for people and absolutely knocked it out of the park. Everything sounds really crystal clear. Nick, his vocals are super on point. Like, nice. Very proud of those guys for what they put onto, I guess, digital. It used to be on tape, but, they definitely worked their asses off. Very proud of them. Very excited that I've been able to listen to it and show my support for them. And Haberdashery. Go fucking listen to it.
Cool. That's awesome, man. I'm going to go check that out. I know there's a lot of albums that are supposed to come out this year.
Right.
It's going to be kind of a toss-up as to, whether that's going to happen or if that's a good idea or not. I know Deftones are supposed to come out with a new album, which I'm psyched about.
Right.
There's supposed to be a new Pucifer album. There's like 5 or 6 bands that I love that are supposed to put out albums this year. But
a lot of these bands are still working on those things, or maybe they had them done, but just the production, because a lot of things have shut down as a whole. I know CD Baby, a company that I've used, and I believe we use with Trawl too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
use them.
Shut down their actual physical warehouse. Like, they no longer are going to have a warehouse. A lot of places that are doing that distribution or, physical media is still kind of, getting stomped on.
No, it's true. And, it's a really interesting time for physical music for all those reasons. Obviously shipping, people can't get together. We're not going to shows. The other big thing that just happened is one of the 2 major lacquer plants in the entire world that produce the master plates to make vinyl. There's literally only 2 plants in the entire world, and one of them just burned down.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah. So,
I mean, Jesus.
As far as vinyl goes, it's one of those industries that kind of started back up. So a lot of the machinery and, used to make vinyl plants kind of reopened. They fixed machines. There's been a little bit of infrastructure built around it, but it's really nowhere near in the place that it was in like the 70s, 60s, 70s and beyond that. So it's really kind of a delicate industry, and it's still like, are people gonna keep buying records, or is this wave over? So
I know that they come in waves, man. Vinyl, like, I remember probably about 10 years ago, vinyl was basically shutting down, it seemed like, but then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, something happened in like, October of that, of like friggin' 2010, and all of a sudden it's like, vinyl's back. Vinyl's on the surge. People want vinyl records. I mean, your wife, Miranda, just tagged me in a thing the other day about the new We Are Not Your Kind album from Slipknot. And if you buy their special edition, you get a bottle of their No. 9 whiskey. And it's like, I am going to get that. I just got to wait for payday, first off. But like, that's kind of cool that you're going to get a vinyl that is actually cool color. It's whiskey colored, which is super cool.
That's what I was going to say. It's whiskey colored. I see they're doing that with Iowa too, which is cool.
Right. Well, actually, I have Iowa, so I don't need that one.
Yeah, and I'm not a purist. Obviously, I love streaming. I love music formats of all kinds. Basically, any delivery method of music works.
Yeah.
But for me, I just found that because I kind of missed the vinyl era because I grew up in the tape era, that right around 2009, 2010, Miranda and I started collecting vinyl because we thought, like, this is cool. Like, we never got to own some of this stuff, how it was released in its original format, the way that the band intended it, and that whole kind of thing. And it's not that, like, from a sonic standpoint, I'm a purist. Like, a lot of people are what, they would call, like, vinyl fascists. Like, vinyl sounds so much better than everything else.
Vinyl fascist.
That
I know,
like,
it's just that term caught me off guard.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm thinking back to, like, was it like our second episode, the Considerate Ninja comment, and I know a couple of people have messaged me and said, you and the Considerate Ninja, and it's like, god damn.
So yeah, there's this whole kind of vinyl fascism thing where people are like, oh, it sounds greatest on this format and no other format. I know that sonically and with the advancements of recording, that that's not true, but at the same time there is something really cool about vinyl and the physical nature of it, putting on a record, sitting down, listening, making yourself pay attention to an entire album when you would normally move on to the next song. So I think that's for us why, and we now have hundreds and hundreds of records.
But see, that's the thing is, back in the day, if you were somebody that had a lot of vinyl, it was like, okay, let's go to, Seth's house. He has, 50 vinyls that we can listen to all night. And that was an event. People would go to houses to just do that. You just hang out, man. Sit down. And that's super cool that you're kind of bringing it back. Personally, excuse me, I'd actually like to see tapes come back and get tape players, because I love the good old fashioned open the tape up, and then you had to pull it out, and it got eaten, but then you had the pencil trick. Not many of these youngsters know the pencil trick with a tape. I know a couple bands out there are actually producing tapes as they produce like CDs. They'll actually produce tapes too, because some people still collect tapes, and I think that's awesome. I love tapes.
Yeah, I definitely have seen like a little resurgence of tapes coming back. I think the physical release for any band now has become almost like the appropriate way to tip the band if you're a fan of them.
Right.
Yes, you can go on Spotify and listen to all their stuff. It's out there on every single platform. However, if you go to their show, they have the cool tape release, or they have the cool vinyl or the CD.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to buy it because, you're a fan and you want a cool memento. So call it what you want, whether it's the most, relevant piece of, material you could have or whatever, as far as like the format. It's really about fandom. It's about loving and appreciating music.
It's about supporting each other.
You can do that in all sorts of formats and supporting each other. So, when people go on rants about this is dead or that's dead, or why are people wasting their time doing this, it's about fandom. It's just about love and appreciation.
The only other album I've been spinning a lot lately, and this is something that is almost a staple in my musical diet, is a band called Coffin Cats, both with K's. It's a 2008 album called Drunk in the Daylight. It's a psychobilly band that not a lot of people know this. I'm a huge psychobilly and punkabilly kind of fan. And Coffin Cats, I actually got to see them play at the Geno's, and it was one of those shows where there wasn't a lot of people because it was like a Tuesday night or something crazy like that, but I got to go and see a band that normally wouldn't come up to Maine for anything, but somebody at Geno's actually was a huge fan of theirs and had to have them come up because they were on tour and they were going to be in the New England region. And I went and saw them, and I've been a fan of theirs for years and years and years. And yeah, Drunk in the Daylight's one of my favorite albums by them. It's just got a bunch of great songs on it. And the guy's voice is very fucking croony, which I love. He does the double. He's actually the bass player too, and it's just like you would think in like the Reverend Horton Heat. If you ever seen him play live, standing on the bass guitar, guys playing it, and somebody else is standing on it. Like they're a 3-piece, and they sound like a 30-piece. They're amazing.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, Drunk in the Daylight came out in 2008. I want to say it has like 16 songs on it, and they're just great. I love psychobilly. I always wanted to start a psychobilly band, not to go super off topic, but
yeah,
I just
That's
realized cool. I can't do it. Like I actually wanted to play stand-up bass too.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play too. Like it's always fascinated me. I love that style.
Yeah, that double picking, man, watching those guys like,
yeah,
super cool.
I love watching Lee Rocker from the Stray Cats.
Yes,
got to see him like last year at a little theater show where he played solo with his band, and he did all the Stray Cats songs. Super cool to see.
Yeah,
dude's just amazing. And then the current bass player that's playing with Brian Setzer's Rockabilly Riot is really good. I love that style. It's just a cool style.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, rockabilly, old school rockabilly is really cool. The punkabilly and psychobilly, I like it because it's a little bit more into my wheelhouse, but I still like the old school stuff.
And maybe like kind of like your approach to vocals, like thematically, I think is a little bit kind of, I definitely hear that psychobilly influence.
Yeah,
which is cool.
It's there, trust me.
You got, like you said, Reverend Horton Heat, the Cramps.
Yeah, the Cramps. Coffin Cats are huge. Necromantics are a super big band that I love. Horror Pops is a female-fronted band that I'm a huge fan of. But yeah, I mean, Coffin Cats, Drunk in the Daylight's just a great album from 2008. If you get a chance, we'll probably post their websites and stuff we're going to post their websites and stuff in the comments section.
Maybe
or
we'll make
description.
Maybe we'll make like a playlist or something.
Yeah,
you
we'll
guys
probably do
with
that.
some of the stuff that we'll
figure
about.
something out for you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? This is John from Alliance. You're listening to Seth and Sean on TrawlCast.
So one of the things we wanted to talk about was food, because it's also kind of an interesting time for food where, we're doing a lot of cooking at home.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurants aren't as
accessible. Yeah.
A lot of places are doing curbside to go or contactless payment, pickup orders and things like that.
Right, yeah.
But, definitely missing out on the restaurant experience these days. And so Sean, what are some of your favorite restaurants?
Some of my favorite restaurants are, and it depends on the mood. You get a certain mood for a certain style of food.
Yes, always.
So for me, like one of my favorite barbecue places to go is Noble Barbecue. They're on 302 in Portland.
Yeah.
Roosevelt Trail or Forest Ave, whatever you want to call that strip of road there.
Outer Forest.
Excuse me, that was a burp. Yeah. It's actually funny because it's only like 3 minutes from my work. Not to tell everyone where I work, but I'm like right around the corner from it. And
nice.
Yeah, they have just really good food there. Their meats are all, perfectly cooked every time you go in there. They are doing I want to say it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right now, they're doing the contactless curbside pickup and all that stuff.
Nice.
And they just started. They're kind of just before the quarantine self lockdown situation occurred. They were starting to do a remodel of their small
Space
restaurant. Yeah, space. And I went in there like the day before. They were like, "Yep, no one can go out anymore." So I got lucky enough to sit down one last time there before they actually did that. And they actually were revamping their menu as well.
Nice.
But one of the things that I loved to go in there and get was their smoked meatloaf cheeseburger.
That sounds amazing.
Whoo! Oh my god, dude! It's literally one of the best things I've eaten ever in my life. It's basically 2 chunks of meatloaf. It's a smoked meatloaf with cheese in between them, and they give you pickled onions, and it's see, now I'm hungry.
I know.
I knew this was going to be a bad segment because we're going to be hungry. But I love Noble Barbecue. The food, their recent styling of food is they're doing what they call Detroit style pizza.
Oh, really?
And I actually didn't know what the hell that was until I actually looked it up. So everyone knows Chicago. It's the deep dish, like the deep dish. New York style is like super big slices. But Detroit style pizza is actually square pizzas. It's cooked in a square pan. And it's kind of the way Noble does it, and I don't know if this is how Detroit style pizza is. They kind of, for me, it seems like a cross between Chicago's deep dish and like a square pizza you used to get in like, middle school or whatever.
The Elios.
Yeah.
But way better,
like
obviously.
the old school. Yeah. But it was super thick. The toppings were perfectly cooked and like actually really strategically placed. Like you got really good bites every time you took a bite of the pizza.
Nice.
And I absolutely love Noble Barbecue. Can't wait for this all to be over with so I can get back there and eat more.
Yeah.
That's one place. I have more. But
I've only ever been there one time, and I got like a barbecue banh mi sandwich, and it was really good.
Yeah. I mean, they have so much stuff. Like their pastrami sandwiches are pastrami Reuben used to just melt in your mouth. It was so good. You take a bite and it just dissipated and coated your tongue. And they had something called Scrappy Fries, which were twice fried French fries with like the bits that they cut off their meat. Like they would take the ends, the butcher bits as it's called, and they'd sprinkle it over it with like cotija cheese and like poblano sauce. Like,
nice.
Oh my God. So good. So good. So that's one of my places.
Nice.
Seth, tell me one of yours before I keep going.
All right.
Because I'm getting hungry. I might have to.
We'll trade off. We'll trade off stories, but so we don't get too excited here. All right.
It's a little too late for that.
One of my favorite restaurants is Empire Chinese Kitchen in Portland. Of course, it's also a music venue, now turned kind of comedy venue. So they're not really doing music shows anymore. But Empire Chinese Kitchen is one of my favorite restaurants. It's kind of like a dim sum family style Chinese restaurant. It's very different than most of your sort of Americanized Chinese restaurants. In some of the stuff that they offer, they do a lot of pork type things like char siu bao, which is like a pork stuffed steam bun, and a lot of that kind of thing. But if you ever go there, you have to get the bacon fried rice. It's an absolute must.
You have told me about this before because I have still not eaten there yet, and I am looking forward to that.
I would say hands down, if you ever go to Empire, bacon fried rice, it's like literally the most fresh rice with vegetables in it, and this thick cut, really crispy bacon in the rice, and it's like off the chain. It's so good.
This was such a bad idea, man.
This is a really bad idea.
The funny thing is I just ate dinner before this, and I'm like, you know what? I could go for round 2. Let's do this.
What's also cool is it's right next to like 3 local record stores. You have Moody Lords, you have Strange Maine, and Electric Buddha. they're literally all within one block of Empire. So like Miranda and I's favorite thing to do is to go there like around lunchtime, get the bacon fried rice, get a couple other things, and then go hit up all the local record spots in the area. So little.
And see, that sounds like a really good weekend. Like that sounds like something that would be fun. You know, you can grab lunch, you can hit it, you know, or you can go to a record store first, then grab lunch, then go to another record store. And there's a lot of stuff in town Portland where that's located that you can go like kind of walk around and window shop and see some other stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, since you went Chinese, I'll go Thai food.
Okay.
I love Thai food. I actually, some people may not know this. I used to take Muay Thai a long time ago. And the guy who I
didn't know that.
Being taught by, I can kick and stuff really hard.
Kick, punch, and kick.
and elbow. I can elbow real hard. Actually, funny story I'll get to later, but the gentleman that was training me in Muay Thai actually owns a restaurant in North Windham, Maine, called the Thai Place.
Nice.
Pretty easy to remember, Thai Place. Manny Chowerson, super nice guy, and his pad Thai chicken, 2 stars. It's probably the best in the state. I know there's other people who've had me try other Thai food in different places. There's just something about Manny's food, Manny's cooking. He sprinkles a little bit of extra crack in it or something. I don't know, but I love that. I love their crab rangoons because they're super small. Like normally when you get like Chinese crab rangoons, they're like a big triangle. These are almost like tater tot sized, and you can pop it right in your mouth. It has like a cashew dipping sauce, I believe.
That sounds
and you can
good.
just pop it in your mouth. Dude, it's so good. And I know Manny is still doing, like, I think he said Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, he's still open, doing the curbside. So if you're looking for Thai food, go there, get his Thai food, call him up, order it. And if you do go, something I highly recommend to everybody is get some of Manny's Thai tea. It is literally like energy. It's better than Red Bull. I'll tell you that right now. If I want to get energized and wake up and feel alert and feel full and ready for a day, like I'll get some of that Thai tea. And I mean, honestly, it's got sugar. It has half and half, and it's a tea that it's cold. It's not hot. It's served cold. It will wake you up for like days on end. And actually, Manny, the gentleman who owns it, he gave me a couple bags of Thai tea many years ago, and Kara and I made it, and we had Thai tea for like probably a week. And dude, I was shaking by like the 3rd day. I was so jacked up from this stuff.
It's like the espresso episode on The Office when they're like, "All right, we all got to try all the flavors."
Yeah.
We're gonna.
They were just this
sweating.
Stuff, well, and it's cool because Manny was. At the time, he was teaching me how to do Muay Thai, and he's like, "Oh," I was like, "Man, I love your Thai tea. It's super good." And he goes, "Here, take some home. You know, this is how you make it, blah, blah, blah." And I made it, and Kara and I were like, literally, like I said, we were shaking for days because it was just, basically it was concentrated energy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But to kind of go back to that funny story, as Manny was teaching me Muay Thai, I was in there one night, and I had like a little bit of a rough week that week, so I was training, and he had me come up and kick the bag. Basically, it's a drill to teach you how to kick properly.
Yeah.
And sitting there, he puts the bag up next to his, because Manny actually used to fight Muay Thai professionally, and I want to say he was managed by the same guy who managed Chuck Norris for a while. I could be wrong, but I know there's some celebrity that he's connected to in this weird fashion, like they had the same manager, or they fought once by accident. They weren't supposed to be in the same bracket, or something weird like that. But he put the bag up to him, and he goes, "All right, you kick." So I kicked, and he goes, "No, you kick harder." And I apologize for the accent, but it's the only way you can describe Manny. So you kick harder. So I was like, all right. So I did it again. He goes, "No, you kick harder." So I just got pissed. Like it was like my 4th kick. And I threw everything I had into the kick, and I literally popped the top of his heavy bag.
Damn.
And he goes, "Oh, big boy, know how to kick now. All right, you owe me a new bag." And I went, "Shit."
All right.
And he goes, "It's okay. We fix it." And like they duct taped it closed, and like people were coming up to kick it, and they had lost a bunch of the filling, so he was kind of getting shots into the leg. And when it was my turn to come back, he goes, "No, we're done for the day." So I broke his heavy bag, and then I still actually owe him a heavy bag to this day. But he keeps telling me he's going to open up the training again. He actually shut down because of other things in life.
Did he have like
a while ago,
dojo attached to the restaurant kind of thing, or like near it? Or?
No, we actually went into the restaurant after hours and cleaned up,
Dude,
and kind of
that's awesome.
did it there. Yeah, so we were there actually helping him move tables and stuff like that, and yeah, I did Muay Thai for a while with him, and
That's
I got
awesome.
really good at throwing kicks. So
that's like the movie Sidekicks with Chuck Norris, actually.
right.
When their martial arts team is like sponsored by the Frying Dragon, the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, it's where they trained. Yeah. And actually, I still have. It's Team Chaurasan. Is his last name is Chaurasan. I have one of the sweatshirts that you get when you become part of the Muay Thai team. So I still have it to this day. I love wearing it. Love representing it.
That's awesome.
It's a good time in my life. All right, so that's my number 2. What's your number 2, Seth?
Okay, so since you talked about Thai, because I had a Thai one, I'm gonna go with some Mexican.
Oh, all right.
I love Taco Trio, which is in South Portland. It's in the Nightville neighborhood near the Mill Creek area. So if you go like where the post office is in South Portland, down on that side.
Right. Yep. I lived in that Nightville area for a little bit. That's actually, that area is where I was first introduced to Loki.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Nice.
Because that's where I was living when my old roommate became their drummer.
Okay.
It was there. So
all right, so yeah, you're
that
very
place,
familiar with that area.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if this place was open when you were there. Probably not, but
absolutely not. No, because I would have definitely eaten there if it was.
Taco Trio. It's basically like, I would say it's a little bit like California style Mexican food, where it's not.
Right.
It's probably not like, you've got like your El Rodeo and that style where it's a little bit more authentic, or like a fajita grill, but this one's a little bit more like fresh tacos and burritos, and like they're putting stuff that like they have like fruit salsas and different stuff like this. But I love getting their their California style chicken burrito that has like beans and rice and really good grilled chicken. They have amazing salsas. They have kind of a salsa bar where you can load up on like 4 or 5 different types of salsa, which is cool. You get to try a bunch of stuff. And they have like fresh hot chips and guacamole and everything. So it's kind of a short order place where you walk up to the counter and order, and then you sit down and they'll call your number. So it's like a pretty quick lunch spot or dinner spot, but like really super good food. And it's also a good excuse to go back over to that neighborhood, because Miranda and I used to live over there too. And the Mill Creek Bull Moose is right there. So you're seeing a trend. Basically, we like to go to restaurants that are near record stores. So,
hey, not a bad thing.
Yeah. So we usually use that as an excuse to like pop into Bull Moose. Shout out to those guys. Amazing record store. Great people.
Absolutely.
And they do a fantastic job. I know that they're doing curbside orders right now. I don't think I'm not sure if the restaurant is, but I know that Bull Moose is. So we've been, trying to take advantage of stuff like that too. So, how about you?
No worries,
What's another one for you?
Geez. So you just went Mexican, which kind of, it's funny because I didn't know you had it. Normally we don't plan these things. We kind of just let this be a surprise to each other. We don't like do a lot of pre-talking. Like we set up topics and then go into it and kind of leave each other to a surprise. So I didn't know that Seth had a Thai restaurant. And then I didn't know he had a Mexican restaurant because I had a Mexican place that I found last March in Wells, Maine called Los Olas Taquera. And it's a burrito shop down there that just has like a bunch of different style burritos and sauces and stuff.
Nice.
And it's just really good food. Like I definitely spent more money than I should have there. And it's just great. It's right, like if you get off the Wells exit, take a left going towards Wells, it's basically in the shopping plaza that's to your, forward right. Great friggin' food. Everything there was just top notch. I'm pretty sure they make their chips on site.
Yeah.
Just really good burritos every time I went there. And it's funny because Kara and I both do jobs that sometimes entail traveling around the state, and she actually has been to Wells for years. She's been going to Wells to do her job, and I told her about that place. She goes, I've seen it. I've never eaten there before. I was like, you need to try it, because I tried it twice in the last 2 days, and it's worth it.
Nice.
And yeah, Los Olas Taquera. It's down there in Wells. It's
Nice.
super good.
So, my favorite place, or one of my favorite places, because there's many, the Holy Donut.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, they're in Scarborough. I think they have one in downtown Portland as well.
They have one by Hadlock Field in Portland. Yep.
They make Maine potato donuts, so they use potato flour instead of the traditional recipe, and it just has this texture and this sort of density, but not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. Yeah.
That it tastes different than other donuts, and their flavors are off the hook. They've got a bunch of different
It
stuff.
doesn't taste different, than other donuts. It tastes better than other donuts.
Yeah.
You can say it,
Okay,
man.
all
All
right,
right?
all right.
Like Holy Donut is the bomb.
They're so good.
Like there
Yeah.
are days that Kara and I will wake up, like it's on a Saturday before the world was on fire, and she'd be like, all right, who's going to get Holy Donut? And we'd like rock, paper, scissors to see who would go get Holy Donut. 9 times out of 10, she loses, and so she has to go get it. But she just shows up and gets what, and it doesn't matter. You can get anything there, and
It's super good.
it's pretty friggin' good. I mean, they had a maple bacon donut one time, dude.
Yeah, the maple bacon's really good. My favorite is probably the dark chocolate sea salt glazed.
Yes. Oh my god.
That's my favorite. It's just I could literally eat.
Have you tried that heated
of those.
up? Like, have you heated that up
Yeah,
and had that with a milk?
not with milk, but that sounds good.
Oh, dude,
So
it's fantastic.
confession, during this, like literally one of the only places we've been to during this situation has been Holy Donut, because you can get their app, you can order and pay before you go, and they have a drive-through, so literally you just go through the drive-through.
Yep.
They'll hand you the bag of donuts. Really easy. So I think we're on to 2 or 3 times now since all of this started. We've been there.
Hey, you don't have to feel bad about going out to get stuff to eat, man. I actually have done it quite a bit, just because there's a lot of times I don't get to come home and cook, per se. So,
So yeah.
I fight it, but there are times you got to go. You got to do what you got to do, especially Holy Donut, man. Don't ever apologize for Holy Donut. If everything else in the world burned down and Holy Donut was the only thing left standing, I'd be honest, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, man.
I'd be okay. It sounds terrible, but I love Holy Donut, man.
It's great. And how about you? Did you have one that you picked for dessert?
Dessert, yeah. I'm a classic kind of guy. So Beals
Oh yeah,
ice cream
Beals, man.
over in Main Street in Gorham.
Yeah,
It's just down the road from you, my guy.
yeah.
I mean, you go there, you can get any ice cream. Their sundaes are great. It's a good classic dessert. Is ice cream.
They have a ton of flavors.
Like their cake batter. Oh, dude, they do. Their cake batter ice cream is phenomenal. My youngest son is a huge fan of tea berry.
Yep. Like
Not really a big fan of it myself, but
like tea berry
I
gum.
understand it. Yeah.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know.
it literally tastes like the gum. Yeah.
Huh. I love that gum, but it literally lasts like a minute. That's always
4
been
seconds. Yeah. It's like Fruit Stripes. You get like 15 seconds of it, like, yeah, and then you're like, well, that was disappointing. Yeah, no, they have tea berry there that tastes just like the gum.
Huh.
Actually, my dad is like, I can eat it. It's not like I can't eat it.
Yeah.
I don't get it every time. I'll get a very small cup of it. Just as one of those things like, okay, I had it for the year. I'm all set.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have so many good flavors.
My favorite there is the coffee Oreo.
Oh, dude, that's so good too. Yeah, I'll go with cake batter in a waffle cone with sprinkles.
Yeah.
Because then it just tastes like funfetti cake,
That's
and I'm good, man.
that's amazing. Yeah.
It's nice and easy.
They actually during the summer at my work, they'll show up sometimes. They have a food truck that it's called Beals on
Yeah.
Wheels, and they'll show up to some businesses. They actually will show up at my work sometimes in the summer, and everyone will literally run out like we're 8 years old,
trampling each other, just
trampling
to get
each other. If you ever want to see like an office building full of people like happy, just
man.
pull up with an ice cream truck, and everyone's literally.
It's actually funny. Where I live, we have an ice cream guy, and I don't foresee him coming around this year, unfortunately. But every year for probably close to 5 years now, 6 years now, this guy has come around. Actually, it's been longer than that. I'm going to say probably close to 10 now, thinking about it. He has come around, and every year he makes a point to turn around in front of my house, and he'll actually beep his horn to let us know that he's outside.
That's awesome.
And he's super nice guy. Like, he was a radio DJ too, like on the side. So, or as his main job. But he's super nice guy, and like, I love ice cream trucks. Like, that's something that I wish they'd come back, and I wish that would be something that they would bring out, because those are the signs of the summer for me as a kid.
Yeah, man.
And even as an adult, if I see an ice cream truck, I'm like those psychopath kids, like, ice cream truck, and I run out with I'll find cash if I can find cash, and if they take card, I'll be even happier. But I run out and I'm right there. I'm ready to rock and roll, get my ice cream from an ice cream truck.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
But yeah, Beals, yeah, dude. Like, I understand that. See, now I want ice cream.
I know.
God damn it, Seth.
This segment was a terrible idea.
Well, you know what? I can make it even worse. So, have you been? You mentioned doing a lot of cooking at home.
Yeah.
We've done restaurants. Like, what have you been doing at home to just kind of keep busy? Have you been learning how to cook more, or do you already know how to cook and you're just kind of showing off the skills to the missus or whatnot? Like,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because right before all of this started, Miranda and I had been like really expanding our horizons as far as like trying new stuff and making new fresh recipes, and like going to the grocery store every other day to get like fresh vegetables and meats, and like trying, different dishes and stuff. But since this has started, we've been trying to go to the grocery store like every 2 weeks. So we've been just like bulking up on stuff that lasts longer, like, frozen foods and stuff like that. So we haven't been doing as much fancy, fresh stuff because we're just afraid that like that stuff's going to go bad before we can eat it at all. So we've kind of leaned on the old comfort food classics, but some of the stuff that I love to make, that I've always kind of loved to make, is pizza. I could literally make any type of pizza and be happy. Like, but when I was growing up, I had a job working for like a short order little restaurant that made like pizzas and subs and like fried chicken and stuff like that. And I learned to love making pizza. So that's one of my jams. I also love to make any sort of breakfast food.
Yep.
Breakfast pizza, breakfast sandwiches, omelets. I'll put anything in an omelet. You can put like leftovers from the night before in an omelet, and it's usually
dude.
So that kind of stuff. How about you? What kind of stuff do you like making?
I mean, you open up how long do we have to record? Because I could go on for days.
Yeah.
I love cooking. One of my first jobs I ever had was as a dishwasher in a restaurant, but I worked there long enough and got enough, trust that they moved me up into fry cook. And then I've progressed and I've worked in a lot of restaurants over my life.
Yeah.
I actually am a huge Gordon Ramsay fan. I mean, really, who isn't?
Ramsay's awesome, man. I love Ramsay.
But I have, I want to say 4 or 5 cookbooks of his, and I cook all the time. This past Sunday was Mother's Day. Actually, and I already told you about this, but I told Kara, what do you want for dinner? And she goes, well, whatever's fine. We can just do McDonald's or something. I don't know. I was like, no. See, it's Mother's Day, so I'm going to cook. And she's like, oh, okay, what do you need from the store? I was like, well, no, what do we have? Like, let's start there. And what I ended up making was I baked some haddock with panko breading on it that has a little bit of a special seasoning that I put in it, little different way to make it. I cut up some lemons and kind of drizzled that over it. I actually threw the lemons onto the pan. And did a little bit of white wine on it too, just to give it some flavor. And then I made these mashed potatoes that I've kind of, in my family and some of my friends who have had them, I've kind of become famous for.
Yep.
Nice. Now, my mashed potatoes, they're just mashed potatoes to me, but to other people, they'd kill for them. So what I do for my mashed potatoes, I won't give it all away because there are some tips and tricks that I do that maybe not a lot of people do. Yeah, it's a secret recipe, but I do shallots and like garlic cloves. I'll dice up some shallots and I'll take a couple garlic cloves and crush them, and I'll actually saute them in a olive oil. Just kind of get them nice and flavorful.
Nice. And
from there, I let those sit and rest. I make the mashed potatoes. I actually, as the mashed potatoes are cooking and boiling, I actually will add some saffron threads to the water.
Damn. That's a Ramsay move.
Yeah, saffron. Yeah, no. Well, saffron is like $30 for like a small little capsule of them.
Wow.
And I actually have, I probably have like $80 worth of saffron, which seems like a whole lot, but it's actually only like 4 tubes of the. They're very small. They're like a thimble sized tube. But I put a couple saffron threads in the water to let it boil with the potatoes. I actually put some aside in water and let them kind of soak and marinate themselves in the water. It pulls out some of the flavor.
Wow.
But yeah, I kind of put all that stuff together. I use pink Himalayan salt and fresh cracked black pepper. And there's a couple other ingredients, like I said, that are in there. I mix it all together, and I use a whole stick of butter, even though it may not need that much. I definitely put it in there. And once the finished product's done, I have never had a complaint about those potatoes. So I'm pretty proud of them myself.
That sounds amazing, man. Absolutely. That sounds great.
I have some left over. At some point I may sneak them over to your house and leave them on your car or something like that if I can do that.
Yeah, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm sure you guys do too, but we watch an insane amount of Food Network. Always watching Chopped, always watching, literally.
Actually, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No, my 7-year-old son does. My 7-year-old son actually just informed us the other day that he wants to be a pilot at night or by day and a chef at night. So,
okay.
And he's been working on recipes and stuff like that. I don't know, man. He's been working on it, and him and I get up and cook stuff all the time together.
That's awesome.
I cook breakfast, once in a while. Kara's actually better at cooking breakfast. She'll say that's not true, but I think it is. But I have a very specific cast iron pan.
Yep.
That is it's a cast iron skillet, excuse me. It's strictly for bacon. I don't cook anything else in it. I save the bacon grease for other things, but that skillet is, when it heats up, you can actually smell bacon through the house. Like it permeates
Nice.
everything, and it's so good.
That's a very Ron Swanson move. I have a pan specifically for bacon.
Well, I did learn some stuff from Mr. Swanson.
Crying is only
But no,
acceptable at funerals in the Grand Canyon.
Yes. His pyramid, yes.
Pyramid of greatness. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I don't watch. I watch a lot of Kitchen Nightmares and like Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
A lot of Gordon Ramsay stuff, because watching him work and seeing some of the dishes he makes actually got me into to not really forced me, but he kind of invigorated me to cook more.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then like I got some of his cookbooks, like I said, and like I've made scallops with quail eggs and a parsnip puree. Like I've done some real fancy stuff for my family. And there's been a few failures, but there have been more successes than there have been failures. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm pretty excited about that.
And you gotta some recipes, like you start somewhere and then every single time you do it, you're like, all right, I'm going to do this differently or that differently. And eventually it's like amazing, but you gotta it's a lot about trial and error too.
Well, there's that, but there's also, I'm laughing because it's kind of a sick talent that I guess I have. I don't know. I can find just about anything in a kitchen and make a fairly reasonable meal out of it. Kara hates it. She absolutely loses her mind on me when I do it. But I pulled together a ragu sauce for pasta one day out of nothing. We didn't have anything in the house, and I just found some things and did what I had to do. And she was like, "This is, I really hate you sometimes."
You're like the pantry MacGyver.
Yeah, dude. Okay, you're the considerate ninja. I'm the pantry MacGyver. I'll take that.
MacGyver.
Or MacGruber. There we go. I could be the MacGruber. But yeah, no, I'd like to watch more cooking shows. I usually watch, the only time I actually watch cooking shows is around Halloween time, because the Food Network does all the Halloween baking championships and
I like that stuff.
all the, it's super fun to watch these crazy creations get made out of cakes and cupcakes and pies and all that stuff. And see, I can't bake. That's something that I will admit. I can't bake to save my soul. Yeah. But I can cook. There is a difference, baking and cooking.
That's true. There's a lot of science to baking, and it's very temperamental. It's
you got to be patient.
Yeah, a lot of people that are good at baking, they kind of specialize in that, and they learn that skill set because, cooking and baking are definitely two, distinct skills for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome, man, dude. I love talking about food. I could talk about food forever.
Dude, we're big boys, we're husky capable, as some people may say.
One of the things that it's like one of the first meals I ever made for Miranda. I think I made chicken parm because I love making Italian food anyway.
Nice.
And not that I'm super amazing or fancy, but I, learned how to make a decent, I think fairly, decent chicken parm. So, I love, cooking Italian food, and I love that kind of thing. So like I said, I'm not an amazing cook by any means, but I enjoy it. And I think, Miranda usually likes the stuff I make, so I think I'm doing all right. But
Yeah, she ain't kicked you out yet. That's a good thing.
yeah.
One of these days, we're going to, have to exchange chicken parm recipes because I'd like to see what you got because I definitely have one that's, again, I'm not the best cook in the world. I try some crazy shit that usually seems to work out.
That's awesome.
But I love cooking as well, so.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
All right, folks. So that's going to pretty much wrap up this episode of Beats and Eats on TrawlCast. Thank you so much for tuning into TrawlCast. If you like what you hear, we are available on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Outcast, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify. I believe we're also on the Apple iTunes for shows as well. So if you do like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. As soon as a new episode drops, it'll be right there and ready, waiting for you to hit the play button and listen to us. We're also available on YouTube. All you got to do is search for TrawlCast. I don't remember what the number is, but we are close to that magic 100. So if you can help us out, give us a like, subscribe to us, have a friend subscribe to us just for, giggles and whatnot. If you are able to, give us a rating of 5 stars, review us, tell people what you like about the show. Maybe it's Seth's voice, maybe it's my laugh, I don't know. You tell them what you like. If you'd like to send us a voice message, all you got to do is go to anchor.fm/TrawlCast, and there's a little text bubble from like the cartoons or comic books with a plus symbol in it. Hit that button, record a hi, how you doing, or a listener question if you want to hear something specific, or if you want to do a listener submitted segue, that's a way to do it. If you do have a question, comment, show suggestion, or want to send the listener segue a different way, you can cast a line to us at trawlband@gmail.com. More information about Trawl and everything Trawl related can be found at www.trawlband.com. Again, thank you so much for listening. My name's Sean Matthews.
And I'm Seth McClellan.
This has been TrawlCast. We will see you next time with a very special episode. We hope you all enjoy. Thank you again, and have a great night.
Thank you, everybody.